This is your local and regional news update. Hello, Gary B. Police say a northwest Arkansas man was fatally stabbed while trying to break up a fight. It was in Springdale where Police Sergeant Chad Nickum told reporters that 44-year-old Luis Esmuria Anaya was pronounced dead Sunday at a hospital where he was taken after being found with stab wounds on a staircase in an apartment complex. Nickum said a 20-year-old resident of the complex was later arrested on first-degree murder warrants in that stabbing. Now to Little Rock, where police say a woman's been found shot to death outside a house on the city's southeast side. They say the body of 52-year-old Tamila Jones was found dead about 8 o'clock Monday behind the home. Officer Steve Moore said a witness reported hearing an argument followed by gunfire, but there was no other information. Independence County is growing in population. So says Dr. Michael Paco, chief economist and state economic forecaster of the Institute for Economic Advancement at the University of Arkansas in Little Rock. Talking to a local civic club, Dr. Paco says this is significant for two reasons. One, the growth comes after declines in the 1950s and 60s, and two, only 24 counties in Arkansas are growing. Now that means 51 counties have negative growth rates. In other words, losing population. He said there are a lot of contributing factors. Paco says Arkansas suffered a double-digit recession not only in the Great Recession of 2008 and 9, but also took a gross domestic product dip in 2012. He said in 2011 until 2013, Arkansas lagged the U.S. in the recovery, but since 2014, employment growth has accelerated. Dr. Paco has a name for the double-dip recession and slow growth. He calls it, quote, the Arkansas doldrums, unquote. Batesville is emerging from the doldrums with strength, he says. Growth in the U.S. and Arkansas the last 2 or 3 quarters has run about 2%, with an outlook for slow but steady growth. He said since the Great Recession, Fayetteville has generated about 28.5% growth overall, and Pine Bluff, on the other end of it, has a negative 16%. With all the other areas in between. Dr. Paco pointed out retail sales have only grown at an annual rate of 3% since the Great Recession, and when inflation is factored in, only about 1.5%. Now, Arkansas is therefore lagging in consumer spending, although conversely, retail employment is growing faster in the state than in the rest of the country. Another interesting point is that Arkansas's per capita personal income is only 2/3 of the national average, but that's offset by the fact that Arkansas is the second least expensive state to live in, with the cost of living 12.5% below the national average. And would you believe the least expensive metro area in the U.S. to live? Jonesboro, Arkansas. Now let's go to Izard County, where the Izard County Sheriff's Office is looking for a 38-year-old Marshall, Arkansas man on drug charges. On April 29th, according to the Sheriff's Office, Deputy Richard Crow attempted a traffic stop on a vehicle. The vehicle fled, went behind a residence on Weidman Road. The driver fled on foot. 2 passengers, though, were arrested at the scene. They are 30-year-old Christy Jean Slater of Marshall. Slater charged with 2 felonies and a misdemeanor possession of a controlled substance with the purpose to deliver, that's meth, and also possession of drug paraphernalia with the purpose to ingest meth. Both of those are felonies. And she was also charged with possession of a controlled substance, marijuana, which is a Class A misdemeanor. She is placed on a $20,000 bond, which she met. She is now scheduled to appear in Izard County Circuit Court on May 23rd. The other passenger was 33-year-old Letitia Noel Griffith of Marshall, charged with the same drug violations. Griffith is scheduled to appear in Izard County Circuit Court on May 23rd. And then, of course, the warrant's been issued for the driver, 38-year-old Scott Allen Best of Marshall. In addition to those drug charges, he is also going to be charged with fleeing, which is a Class A misdemeanor. And that brings you right up to date. Gary B.,